Hey, what is up, guys? Welcome to episode 55 of Player Life. It is Monday, the 1st of February. January is struck off the calendar. Already getting through 2021. Hope you all had a good weekend. I had a pretty degenerate weekend. As Not as you well, yeah. Most of my weekends are pretty degenerate, but this weekend was yeah, it was a good weekend. But yeah, yeah, so it started off yeah, Friday. No, it was Saturday. Saturday. I think I took it easy on Friday night. Um so on Saturday I met a girl from that I'd been talking to on Bumble. And this girl was funny. I mean, she was an American chick. I rarely meet American girls or white girls. I do occasionally, but since I'm in Tokyo, I don't often have the chance to meet them. There's just not that many of them, and the ones that are here, they're not the type that you really want to be meeting. Yeah, it's interesting how actually, like, a lot of Western women that come to Japan don't last very long. They, it's guys and girls are completely different in that regard. Guys that come to Japan oftentimes end up either loving it or hating it. I'd say I'm safe enough to say that I love it. Don't love everything about it, but I definitely love it more than I hate it. But women do not have a good time of it. Um, Javier in the house. What is up, my brother? Um, Hope you had a good weekend. Yes. So, yeah, just I think. Well, number one, um, women, Japanese women on average are much better looking than Western women. That's just a fact. I mean, it's a mixture of genetics and self care and just overall aesthetics. Japanese girls are just better at it. I'm not saying there's not hot women in the West. There are really, really beautiful. There can be really, really hot, beautiful Western women. There can be beautiful women in any country, but we're talking on average. The probability of if you walk down the street in a Western country, particularly an English-speaking Western country, you're gonna see, the chances of seeing a really hot girl are much less. Obviously, it depends on where you're at, where you're based, but in general. But in Japan, you walk down the street, the chances of seeing a really hot girl are very high. Um, but yeah, know your worth in the house. What is up, my brother? Good day, Jan. Self improvement is where it's at. Self improvement. It's all about self improvement. Yeah. So, um, yeah, the chicks that come here, first of all, they're usually like the opposite of good looking. Usually, they're like, my friend likes to call them like wildebeests. It's funny. Yeah, I don't know. You see these like these wildebeest chicks come from like America, New Zealand, Australia, UK, Ireland. Like they're literally the opposite of good looking. Like it's harsh to say, but it's just the reality, and it's like so they're throwing themselves into an environment that has like really high competition. So they really have like no chance at all. So a lot of like I said, a lot of the girls that come over here, they have very there's just no one really care, like no one cares, no one pays them any attention. And they just, back home they can simp guys, they can cuck guys because guys are so desperate. But in Japan, Japanese guys are kind of, they get a bad name for being weak and like pussies and soft, but their beauty standards are really, really high. They kind of, they call women over here that that don't get married by or aren't in a relationship by 25. They call them Christmas cakes, leftovers. It's pretty savage, and the Japanese chicks kind of they don't. I mean, they're kind of based about it too. Like they'll like you talk to a Japanese girl and she'll like kind of agree. They'll kind of agree with it in a way. Like they'll be like, yeah, yeah, it's like girls should get married before definitely before 30, and it's yeah. So girls come over here, they just get they end up hating it just because they get like no one hits on them, like no one like yeah, sometimes I'm just on the subway and I see like this just ginormous, like overweight, not just fat, like I'm talking like obese. Like sometimes you see these obese Western chicks that like kind of like dorks. They might they probably like had some kind of obsession with like gaming or anime when they're like growing up, and they still do, or even though they're adults. But you know whatever. I'm there's nothing wrong with that. I don't really care what people's interests are. If they're into anime, that's fine. But no, but that's the reason they come here. They don't really understand other aspects of the culture, and I mean, there's no hope for them to. I mean, they're just blown out of the marketplace. Like like Japanese guys wouldn't even like look at them. Like they just completely they say like, when girls ghost men. I mean, Japanese guys will ghost these women, like completely not even recognize them because they're like, like it sounds really harsh to say, like, but it's like compared to an average looking Japanese girl, a lot of these Western girls that come here are really hideous. I used to joke with some friends of mine. I used to live up north in a smaller Japanese city, and we would joke like we were like, is there some joke? Is there some joke? Like because literally every single Western girl we saw like was like hideous. Like I'm not. That's not even an exaggeration to say. It sounds like harsh. Oh, you're exaggerating. No, I'm not. Like they were like I'm talking like twos, threes, like ones, like girls that like you wouldn't even the expression like slay a dragon, like when you're desperate, when when your well's dried up and you've nothing going, you wouldn't even do it if you were stranded on a desert island with some of these girls. You wouldn't even go there. Even guys, it got they say like guys stuck in prison, like they start banging each other. Like I'm telling you, prisoners wouldn't, like locked up for 20 years wouldn't tap some of these chicks. And that's like sounds crazy, but I don't know. Like I don't know what it is that attracts them to Japan, but and I'll be honest too. Like Japan attracts a lot of dorky like Western guys too. Like a lot of Western guys that are really out of shape and like like dorks, and But so it's not just the women, but So if you're a guy that comes to Japan, you're well put together, and like. And imagine if you have game, then it's a really good place to be. Javier says I'm gonna have to catch this on the replay later, man. It's all good. Yeah. So, but it's the opposite with guys. Obviously, Western guys come here and they often stay here, because it's like, what are you going back to? What is it like? You know, like I said, there are hot girls in Western countries without a doubt. You find hot girls anywhere, but we're talking like on average, like what's the problem? It's just less, and it's getting less and less. And then not only that, but even when they are hot, when Western girls are hot, they have like really, usually have a really abnormally bad attitude. Because they're so entitled, like there's so much um better than 99% of the girls out there in Western countries. So they have like that superiority complex about them. But a lot of Japanese girls, like they don't have that. There's so many girls that don't realize their potential in Japan. Like there's so many girls that could they don't try very hard. like they all Japanese girls are always very like well put together, but like there's a lot of girls that they don't like make that extra little effort, and they could be without putting in any effort whatsoever, they're like a 7. But if they were like if they went out of their way and got really dolled up and put on all the makeup and stuff, they'd be like they could easily be like 9s or 10s. But there's just so many girls that they just don't try that hard. They're just already kind of hot. But yeah, anyway, so I off on a bit of a rant there, but yeah, so I met this girl on what was it, Saturday afternoon. She was a chick from Miami, but I met her on Bumble, right? And it was funny. I'll read out the text message because it's like when you ignore these chicks, they tend to chase more. And this was kind of a prime example of this. So this girl message I got her on another application from Bumble. So she says, "Hi, sorry I didn't see your text earlier. Darn lack of timestamps." And I said, "Hey," and wink. She said, "What do you say about meeting up for tea or lunch next Sunday? Would that work okay?" I said, "Yeah, possibly. Could you come to my area?" So I said the name of my station, because that's what I always do. I get the girls to come to me because like I always say, if you don't do that, it decreases the chances of getting laid, and that's I'm not out here to waste my time. I'm just anyway. So she says, "I have no idea where that is. LOL. I know around that area though." And then I said, uh, I just kind of, I just didn't reply to that until like a week later, and I said, I knew this would trigger her, but I said, "Hey, we still never met. LOL." And yeah, she said, "Hey, you literally stopped texting me," and she sent a GIF. And then I said, "Haha, yeah, well, let's make time to meet, wink." And then she said, "Not the chatty type, eh? I'm down to meet next weekend for lunch or something. Just let me know. Saturday or Sunday is better." And then I just didn't reply. I just had other things going on, and she's she the most attractive thing about her, she had pretty ginormous titties. I mean, her photos look pretty decent, you know. But she was 30. I mean, I'll be honest, like I'm just so spoiled for choice. Going on it, like, it might sound, I'm 32 years old, but going on a going on a date with a 30-year-old chick, it doesn't really motivate me. I mean, I'm just spoiled for choice. I mean, but I get excited about going on dates with, like, 21-year-old girls. That's what I'm like, okay, this is something. This is something to be, but 30, it's like, okay, it's nothing. And this is a white chick. I mean, her photos look good, but at the same time, it's like men age like, women age like milk, men age like wine. That's just a fact. Get over it. And women acknowledge this. Women kind of, if they're honest, women are attracted to guys, guys that age well, that take care of themselves. Guys can age really well. I think I look better now than I did when I was 21, and objectively, I think that's true. But anyway, uh, so she sent that, yeah, and then I said, yeah, I said, "Hey, did you have a nice weekend?" I replied to her after ignoring her for a while, and then she said, "I'm getting a strong catfish vibe from you, my dude." She's just salty because I've been like kind of just ignoring her messages and not like leaving a week or like 5 days in between replying to her. I'm basically turning the tables. I'm just letting her, know that, like, this is what women do to guys all the time. So women with low interest. I have low interest in this girl. This is what women do with low interest in guys. I have low interest in her. So yeah, but chicks don't handle it very well. They get very butthurt. So for anyone who doesn't know what catfish means, it means uh when you use fake photos. And it's more like a compliment to me, because I mean, you know, it's not fake. I mean, if I'm gonna catfish, I mean, I'm gonna use like someone who's really handsome. I don't consider myself really handsome at all by any means, a stretch of imagination. I don't think I'm the worst guy, but I'm certainly not. I'm certainly not catfish photos worthy. Like I'm not putting up. Um. Anyway, so I said, in what sense? I've just been busy the past weekends. Then I sent her a selfie. I sent her this selfie just to show, like, what are you talking about? Then she said she's like really salty because it's total radio silence even after asking what day you want to meet up. So I naturally think I naturally have to think if it's just a bored, overweight 14-year-old who used a couple of stock photos and made up several internet profiles to score some booby pics. Um, and then she says, it's a wall of text. Weather has been dreadful past weeks. Hope this one is better. What did you do over the last few weekends? And then she says, I don't have any smoldering smirk bed selfies to share. You'll have to settle for a crappy bathroom selfie. It's the largest mirror I've got, and it doesn't require me to extend my clumsy ass arms out to drop the phone for the 10,000th time. Yeah, she just sent this really long thing. And then she sent me a photo, and I said, sexy. Yeah, and then, yeah, it's pretty. I'm not going to show her face, but let me see. That's what I mean by, yeah. Anyway, pretty big boobies, but anyway. So anyway, long story short, I ended up meeting this chick on Saturday. And we basically, I met her at my station, and I didn't plan on, I just always take usually the same place. If we're meeting at lunch, I take them to a coffee shop. And she kind of made it difficult at the start. She was like, oh, I don't want to, I don't want to go there. And we walked around. We had to walk around to a few different places. But eventually, after meeting, I just did the same thing. After we had coffee and some food, she wanted to eat. Not ideal. I wasn't even that hungry, but when I'm not gonna say no, no, you can't eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so we got some lunch, and after lunch, I just did the same thing I always do. I just walked them to my house. And she didn't really have any resistance, because it's pretty obvious what we were going to do. You know what I mean? I mean, once you get into sending like selfies and like semi nude, sending like pictures of your boobs, it's like it's never going to be that much of a hassle to there's yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. I wasn't going to show her face, but whatever. It's unlikely she's going to be watching player episodes of Player Life. But it was a good time. Probably not going to be dating her probably, but it's just one of those. It was a good time, but it was interesting because she was an alpha, a Bitcoin widow. She was very she started talking about her ex, and telling me about how he got into Bitcoin way back in the day, and now she's like, yeah, she's salty about it. There's gonna be a lot of chicks like that, you know, since Bitcoin started taking off. There's probably a lot of women, like, post wall women crawling back to their exes that have made bank in cryptocurrency. I'd say there's a lot of women like that right now. But yeah, so also on that was Saturday afternoon. So I already had my got my hole on Saturday, so I was pretty content. But yeah, so that after that it was MLD's. Well, it was Charlie from Cultivate Crypto. He was having a birthday dinner with a bunch of guys we know around Tokyo, and then we were gonna go to MLD's house party. MLD always has the best house parties. A lot of it was another good one. A little less than usual, but hey, I had a good time. Let's see. Noy Word says, yeah, I went out with a 31-year-old. Her younger versions I get more excited to go out with. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, yeah, damn. Yeah, what up, Brent? What is good? Noy Word says, damn, nice knockers. Yeah, she had really, really big knockers, and so we're getting down to it, and I'm like, damn, are these real? And I couldn't really tell, because usually I can tell, like, but they were in the bra. They look kind of natural, to be honest. So I said, are these real? And she's like, yeah, they're real. But once she's like on top of me in cowgirl position, I could see the scar when I had my hands on them. I could see the scar under the boob. Interestingly enough, every girl that I've ever been with that has fake knockers, they always deny that they're fake. Because she was actually she was quite petite, and yeah, so like her not she was slim, so her knockers were kind of huge. So I was like, are these real? Like, but she was like, yeah, they're real, and no, but they were not real. I could tell, even though she didn't admit it, because I saw this. Like I said, I saw the scars on them. But other girls that I've been with that had fake knockers, they always deny it. I don't know why. I don't know why they deny it. But because you can see the scars. I mean, I don't know how they haven't gotten better at doing like surgery. I always say, like, I'm not into like fake knockers. I'm just not. It's not my thing. Like I just it's just something about it that's like, knowing that it's fake is such a turn off. Knowing that there's like, especially if they're implants, especially if it's a silicone implant, that's the biggest turn off for me. I prefer, like, even if they're I would prefer smaller tits than to big fake silicone implant tits any day of the week. Not only as is there a silicone implant, but there's like a scar. You can see it. It's really, I don't know. I don't know why chicks get it done. I guess there's a lot of guys love it, but I'm not one of those guys. Noywhere says, that is so funny. Never thought about a Bitcoin babe alpha widow. Yeah, she was mad salty about it. I could tell she was like, yeah, Bitcoin widow. It's gonna be a lot of that coming up in the next year or so. A lot of women crawling back to their exes, begging for, but a lot of guys are simps. They'll take, a lot of guys are more than willing to take women back too. That's the funny thing. But yeah, so that was anyway. That was a good time. But so we had dinner with Charlie and a bunch of guys, a bunch of hot dudes in Tokyo. Ate some yakiniku. Yakiniku is like a grilled, kind of like a barbecue. You just get a bunch of various kinds of meat, like cow tongue. Cow tongue is popular in Japan. I'm not a fan of cow tongue. I'll eat it. I'll eat anything, but I'm kind of like, nah, I just rather normal meat. But cow tongue is kind of like it's kind of chewy. I don't like that. Like that, the fact that it's a tongue and then it's like it's chewy. It's not my thing. But we ate a bunch of good meat there, and then we took a taxi to MLD's house and partied with a bunch of hot chicks, a bunch of cool dudes. It was a good time. There was one. As soon as I went in, I saw this chick, and she was the hottest. I thought she was the hottest chick there. Definitely, I thought she was. I said it like she's the hottest chick here. There was a little less. It wasn't as crazy as MLD's usual parties. Every party MLD's had, like, it's usually kind of crazy, borderline out of control. But this time it was a little more downplayed, but still a good time. That was because he didn't advertise it as much, but it was still good. So I saw this chick, and she was, yeah, like I said, I thought she was the hottest girl there. I think she might or might not have made an appearance on Rule Zero with MLD. There was three chicks. I think she might have been on that, but she yeah. So I was obviously, but since she was girls like her is like I was saying earlier, she's one of those girls that is just hot and she doesn't really recognize it. She doesn't really make much of an effort. Like she just is hot and she doesn't like she's like a 7, but she could be like a 9 if she just like wore the right clothes or put a little bit more effort into her makeup. She could easily be hotter. But she's one of those girls that like every guy is gonna be hitting on, and every guy was hitting on her, like every guy at the party. I think she got like I think every guy in the place got her number, and including me. But so it's one of those things where you snooze or you lose. But surprise plays in the house. What up? What up, bro? So yeah, she was. So yeah, things were kind of winding down, and we were gonna go to. We decided to go to the club, and so we rounded up the troops, and we all went in the taxi. So I think MLD's in the front seat, giving directions, and nice try, Governor. What up, bro? What is good? So yeah, MLD in the front seat, and then in the back seat is a guy called French guy, one of our mates, French Ed, and he's a good guy. And the chick that was like what I'm talking about, she's in the middle, and then I'm on the other side. But so at that point I hadn't really made a strong move on her at that point. I was just I was talking to her for a bit at the party, like everyone was just mingling around, having a good time. And so anyway, so I'm not like, I wasn't at the party. I wasn't like like beta orbiting around her. It's just like you talk to her for a bit, you let her go, you let her do her thing. It's a bad look when guys get too like needy. If you notice yourself, or you're at a party or something, and you're kind of like orbiting one chick, it's a really bad look. Like talk to them for a bit, let them go. Don't look needy. But that's So anyway, we're in the taxi, and she puts her arms around both of us, like she's in the middle. She puts her arm around, but she has her hand like kind of over my shoulder, and she starts like kind of rubbing my beard like with her hand. So I was just like trying to and I had my hand on kind of on her knee. Anyway, she's like, I was surprised because she started like putting her like finger on my lips and stuff. Anyway, I started kind of like kissing her hand, and that was like, and she didn't like pull her hand away, and or like if a girl isn't into it and you start kissing her hand, she's gonna like pull her hand away. But she didn't. She did she started kind of like playing with it. So I knew this girl was like seriously down. Like she's kind of kinky. So I knew this girl was like. So as soon as we got to the club, I just took her to I just took her by the hand and started. I think before we got into the club, I kind of there's one thing you can do that will really turn girls on. I've noticed over the years, and it's when you kind of show them, you can show them your strength, and girls are obviously like turned on a lot by masculinity and strength. So what you can do is if you can like lift them up and like spin them around. So yeah, I did that. Uh, but girls really like that when you can really easily like and safely without like not like without like falling, like you can lift them up. They're so like just to show how strong you're, like easily, and like spin them around and you like pick them up really high, and they get really kind of, it makes them wet basically. But and also you should do that when you're banging chicks as well. Chicks get seriously wet when you like pick them up physically, like off the ground, and like you know it shows that you're athletic, you're strong. That it makes them horny. Um, but anyway, that was what I did. I lifted her up, started spinning around. She like when she got down, she couldn't walk. But yeah, I took her into the club and just started like we went to a spot, started making out. Um, made it really like kind of raunchy stuff, like not just a normal kiss, but really aggressively making out, like. And I could have just bounced out of the club immediately then, but since we just got there, I hung around for a while, had a good time, you know, going around the club, just hanging out with all the guys, Charlie, MLD. It was one of the better clubs in Tokyo. It's called Warp. Warp. It's like, and so the funny thing is, Tokyo is apparently supposed to be on lockdown. Tokyo is supposed to be on lockdown. It's like the week. There's no lockdown. It's hilarious. But anyway, Saturday night club, packed out club. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the stories. Yeah, totally crowded club, good time. Um, so yeah, but like I said, the only reason I stayed was just since I went there, uh, hang out a bit more. But it's like you don't go to a club with your girlfriend. It's like, what the point? When a club is packed out, it's just guys are there to hit on girls. So it's just and it's kind of like you don't want to be like the beta male like orbiter that's like like aggressively protecting her. But when you're in a club, you kind of have to do it, because guys will literally like, you'll like, if you snooze you lose, like that. There's a reason, that's the expression, like guys will snatch your girl if in that environment. And I've seen it. I've like, to be honest, I've done it. Like I've done that to other guys. Like I've done it. I'm not, I don't go out of my way to do it, but like if there's a guy and he's snoozing on a chick and she's giving me eyes, she's giving me indicators of interest, I'm gonna snatch her up. You know what I mean? I've done it. And but anyway, so like I said, this is the type of girl that attracts a lot of attention, even though she doesn't even try. Um, so it was kind of getting annoying, because like a lot of guys were hitting on her. Um, there was one point where there was one point, there was one dude, like, sometimes Japanese dudes can get pretty cheeky in clubs, especially in clubs. And he just he kind of, she was clearly with me, and he butted in and kind of put his arm around her to try and dance with her. And I just got in between her and kind of grabbed him and looked at him, and he immediately backed off. But he just looked really scared, because he wasn't used to getting just confronted like that. But at that point, and apparently on top of that, apparently he said, "Oh, he's like, I know her, I know her." It's like I don't know, but at that point, I was just like, "Okay, I'm out of here. I'm just gonna take her home and bang her." But and that's what I did. Nice try, Governor says. If a girl in the West touched a guy's beard, the guy would probably report to police, scared of corona. Oh yeah, man, it's not a good time in the West. Back to work. I'll catch the show later. Good stuff, man. Thanks for dropping by. Um, yeah. So at that point, I was just like, okay, she's ready to go. Like we'd been aggressively making out, and I was ready to go again. Even though I just got laid that afternoon, this girl was like pretty hot. So I just got in a taxi, took her home, and we just there was obviously no no resistance, no needing to warm up, and we just went at it. Uh, for It was a good night. It was a good night. Uh, it was funny though because I kind of have a loft here. It's a loft, and I have this like plant, like a plant, and midway through banging this chick, I kind of kicked the pot, and it just like it fell off the balcony and just like smashed all over the floor. Like it was like soil all over it was so annoying. They had to, but yeah, it was just like really annoying. But anyway, it was kind of making a mess, getting messy. But yeah, it was a good time. She was one of the hotter girls I've been with recently. Um, yeah, but and then that was Saturday. That was Saturday night, Sunday morning. You know, when a girl is like, this girl was, she was she wasn't annoying at all. She was kind of sweet Japanese girl, very kinky, very hot. I'm sure she's been around the block a bit because she definitely enjoyed sex. But when a girl's nice, it's like, I'll take them. If we had a good time, I'll take them to breakfast. So I took her to breakfast, and you show them a good, when you do that kind of thing, they'll be more likely to, to return. When you just give them the full package, bang the shit out of them, then uh, you know, treat them to a nice breakfast the next morning. But yeah, so that was, and then on Sunday night, I was kind of juiced, but another plate came around for more degeneracy. So I'm kind of sexed out. I'd say I'll be recharged by yeah, probably by tomorrow morning. I could go again, to be honest. If I if I want, if a plate came around now, I'd go again. But yeah, so but yeah, it was the plate that I met at on New Year's. She came around again last night, and this is the chick that has a boyfriend. That it's so funny. It's like, and she's like, she has no intention of breaking up with him. Some these girls can be just as degenerate for sure. Um, yeah. So today, anyway, that was my weekend. It was a good time. Um, but club game is definitely, when you're in a club, you can't snooze. Like the chicks, like, it's kind of, you know you have to be aggressive, like really aggressive in a club. It was kind of red pilling because, yeah, like when that guy like butted in and I kind of really aggressively, um you know shoved him off, like, and 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 then after, when I shoved him off, she was like, I know her, she's a friend. And I looked at her, and she didn't, like, she looked kind of turned on, like the fact that I did that. Like it's kind of, it's you know girls are attracted to, they get like turned on by aggression. I'm not a very aggressive person, but it was just annoying. I was like, it's like disrespectful when someone, like, you're clearly with a girl, and they like butt in and try and like grab them. You have to do something. You can't like you can't like just let that happen. Um, because if you do, I mean, girls are savages. Like they will like sometimes I've seen it happen. They'll go off with that guy. If you're too weak to stop it. Um, I'm it's not something I'm proud of, but I've done it myself. Like I did that before. Like I've done that. Like when a girl is with a guy and he's snoozing on it and he's not and especially if you're getting those indicators of interest and and you look like you can take him. He's not. It's just law of the jungle. And these girls, they don't care. They just want monkey branch. They'll monkey branch, especially in a club. Especially in a club, if a girl is with a guy, right? She's with a guy in a club, and he hits on her, and she's nothing else going on, so she lets him buy him a drink, and then she lets him make out with her, and but then she sees a better guy come along. She's not in a relationship with this guy that she's with. She just met him in the club. So girls are just looking for the best they can get. So she's no like girls have no loyalty. They'll monkey branch. A better guy comes along, she'll bounce to him. I've been that guy. I've done that. It's not something I advise. Like go trying to steal chicks from guys. It's not a good thing to do. It's like it's disrespectful. But um, when you're in a club and that's if sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Um, yeah, but just make sure you don't get your ass beat when you do it. Um, no, it's not really advisable, but it happens. Let's just say it happens. It just happens, and chicks, are more than willing to do it if a better guy comes along. Chicks do it. Think about it. Chicks do it when they're in relationships. They'll be in a relationship with a guy that even chicks married to guys. They'll monkey branch. So they're obviously going to do it when they're just like in a club with some random dude, and then better guy comes along, taller, more stacked, whatever. Um, they'll do it. So that's why don't be taking your chicks to clubs. Like if you're in a relationship, like these guys, these idiots that take their chicks to clubs. Like what are you doing with your chick in a club? Like I mean, you just unless you want if you enjoy fighting, it's a good way to get into fights because guys are going to hit on your girl. Guys get stupid when they drink. Guys will definitely hit on your girl, no matter who you are. Even if you're a badass looking guy, like some idiot will hit on your girl, and it'll be annoying, and you'll have to do something about it, and you'll eventually get in fights. It's easy to get in a fight if you bring a hot girl to a club. It's so easy. Um, you know, it's just gonna be having to. It is what it is. That's why clubs can be good, but if you're willing to be aggressive, but yeah, don't be bringing chicks to clubs. But yeah, um, I stayed there for a bit and then just bounced out of there, and had a good old time with her. Um, yeah, so this episode I was just going to talk about it, you know how there's really no shortcut to getting hot chicks. In order to get like hotter chicks, you have to become better, especially since women are hypergamous. There's no way around it. So if you're a guy that's like, you have money, muscles, and game, you're gonna have like ones, twos, threes, fours, fives, six, sevens, eight, nines, and tens. They'll all be going for you, because girls only punch up. So not only will other girls that are tens be, trying to vie for your attention, all the other girls will too. So if you're a guy that's a seven, it's going to be a thing where the sevens, eights, and nines, they'll be hard for you to get because you're a seven. Other girls that are sevens, they're going for the guys that are nines and tens, you know, and that's just the way it is. So in order to get those hot girls, you just got to become better. You gotta the three pillars: money. You gotta get more money. You gotta get more muscles. And you gotta get more game. There's no two ways about it. These girls are good. These girls are good at like a good way to understand your sexual market value is to like look at the girls you get with. How hot are they? You know, are they fives? Are they sixes? Are they sevens? That'll tell you where you stand. Usually, uh, some guys have it easier. And that's just some guys are born with good genetics, and they they don't need to learn game as much. But the thing about those guys, if they don't learn game, like they'll be able to get chicks easier. But when it comes to you know really understanding how to deal with these chicks when they start trying to get into relationships with you, these guys that just always had girls coming to them, they don't really know how to deal with it. They end up getting girls like pregnant, or getting into these long-term wasteful relationships. You know what I mean? But yeah, most guys are going to need to like learn game, at least. um yeah, there's a dude at John's party. um he's an Italian dude, and he's like jacked as fuck, and good looking guy. And apparently, like, according to him, and I can imagine how it like girls come to him, but most guys can't rely on that. Like, it's not gonna happen. It's a really you really need to be really like a super Chad. And this guy kind of fit that category. Like, he was a Chad guy. So girls, apparently when he's out and about, girls like come to him. Um that happens me like once in a blue moon. Like, a girl will actually come to me, and that's why I needed to learn game, and that's why I got really good at it, because I don't wait for chicks to come to me. And if I did, I'm gonna be waiting a long time. I would tell you, I would have missed out on some serious, like, yeah, a lot of pussy. Like, pretty much 99% of all my lays would not have happened. Like, if I waited for girls to come to me. you know um and I'm not like, I don't even, I'm not so self-conscious about my looks or anything. I think I'm average looking, maybe a bit above average. But I don't have those like Giga Chad looks, that will make girls like approach me in 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 bars, or in cafes, or in wherever. At best, I'll get the indicators of interest. I'll get a smile, but they're not. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. Like, some girls have approached me, but it is rare. But yeah, if you're a guy and you think, if you're gonna sit around waiting for girls to approach you, it's really not a good idea. Um, even if you are like a Giga Chad, and you have those looks, it's not it's still not a good idea, because you're not gonna, guys should be in a position where they're choosing the girls that they want. Even the girls that approach Giga, really good looking guys, most likely they're not going to be the hottest. Some of them might be, but usually hot girls are still not even gonna. The really hot girls are still not going to approach, like, cold approach, like Giga Chat, like good looking guys. They'll give it indicators of interest, but yeah, but that's why you still need to learn game. Um. Know your worth says never. You got to be the man. Money muscles game. Exactly. You got to be the man. I knew this guy. You know, he was this kind of he was like a Western version of a Japanese like pop idol. So yeah, he could have been really actually popular in Japan, um, because he was he had that kind of look that Japanese girls like. Uh, you know, most Japanese girls like you know they wouldn't actually be too attracted to like a Giga Chad. They prefer more like feminine guys, to be honest. And it like kind of soft, smooth face, but you know, um, this guy was from Britain, and he was he had that kind of he looked like a Western version of a kind of a Japanese pop idol, kind of like tall, slim. You know, I wouldn't want to look like this guy personally. I wouldn't aspire to look like anything like him, but I recognize that he could have been popular with Japanese girls, but he was such a pussy. This guy was such a pussy, and he had a really big ego. This guy was so annoying. Yeah, anytime I talk to him, he's just kind of an annoying guy. But you know, I worked with this guy anyway. But I remember it was one time, you know, I was out with him when I first met him. You know, I worked with him, so I give people the time of day when I first meet them. But if they're annoying, I'll cut them out of my life. But this guy, he was telling me I never approach women. I said, "What do you mean you never approach women?" He's like, "Oh, I let them come to me." And I was like, well, "How does that work out?" You know, he was like, "Oh yeah, they come to me." And like, you know, anytime, you know, I could tell his notch count was definitely very low. Like he got laid a bit, but you know, this guy could have had basically what I'm trying to say is this guy could have had way more pussy than he actually he actually got. Guaranteed. Like he because you know, you have to approach like you know, even if you're really, you know, the ideal man, whatever, you still have to approach. I mean, it's just in female nature. They're immediately like it's almost like humiliating for women to have to approach. Um, who I saw a good meme. What was it? Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Sometimes when you try and when you remember something, you try and find it again. It can be a bit of a. It can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, even when you like something. But yeah, it's like women will basically you know just put themselves in front of a guy that they like and like give some indicators of interest. Um, and that's basically their approach. Like that's the equivalent of their approach. And this meme kind of illustrated that, but I'm not sure where I saw it. Maybe it's like gone. Do do do. I think it might have been on Twitter, but nah, not gonna find it, am I? Yeah, but you get the idea. Um, Know Your Words says, "Good thing you're in Texas at Brent Caldwell. 2 feet of snow over here in Jersey. Yeah, snow's like it can be fun if you're into snowboarding, but yeah, if it's like every day, it gets annoying. Um, Absolutely, maybe twice out of the hundreds they approach first. Yeah, it's not. It's not a good strategy. It's not a smart strategy. Like you know, um, Know Your Worth says you got to be a 9 or a 10 for girls to approach, but most guys who are, they have shit game. Exactly. Yeah. Um, you know, you know, guys that are 9s or 10s, you got to be first of all, you got to be a 9 or 10 to have like girls like cold approaching you in daytime or anywhere. Like you got to be exceptionally good looking, like exceptionally hot. You got to be an exceptionally hot dude, and you know, but you know, like I said, on top of that, you know, even the girls that do approach, they're probably not going to be worthy. You know, you might get the odd hot one that would come through, but you know, you still got to learn how to approach. And obviously, if you are a 9 or a 10, you're gonna be able to clean up if you actually learn how to approach women. It's really not that hard. Um, but yeah, it is what it is. But if you have like the thing is, you just got to make yourself better and better in each category. Personally, I have still a lot to work on. Um, it's amazing when you see like how what a difference money can make to people too. Like if you ever saw the like old photos of Conor McGregor when he like way back in the day, he was definitely not hot, dude. Uh, Not at all. But when you get money, you start dressing better, you start understanding. You can really improve yourself. With dress, a good dress sense. Um, just understanding aesthetics like fashion, things like that. It it's all it's just you just need to improve yourself in every way possible. You know, um, Basically my biggest struggle. I need to improve my finances this year, so that's my goal because, um, yeah, I think I can. Once you have money, you open up a whole new world of uh, of choice. It's a different ball game. Um, like if you're an average looking dude and but you've an above average dress sense and you have a lot of money, like you can have as many chicks as a Giga Chad can have, like hands down. If you're an average dude and you have a lot of money and an above average dress sense, style, and game, it's the same. Like it's the same. You're not gonna be, you're not gonna get any less chicks than a Giga Chad can get. You know, because chicks are attracted to success and power and a guy that knows how to dress. So everyone can get. Most guys can get to the top. If you're an average guy, you can make yourself a way above average guy, and that's where I want to be. I want to be making myself a way above average guy because I want to experience the best things in life. Um, you know, I'm just not one of these guys that will say no to to pleasure, and females offer up a lot of pleasure. It's some people consider it a vice. I don't think so. I'm not going to be getting bored of anytime soon. I've been living this life for years now, and I can tell you, your sex drive, it's going to stay with you. So it's better to work on improving your game, improving yourself sooner rather than later, because you're going to be horny. If you're a dude, you're going to be horny for a long time. Like you might as well, enjoy it. Yeah. My says, haha, fact, brother. I'll be escaping soon enough. Can't leave my job just yet. It makes me much moolah. Good stuff. Yeah, so that was just today's Monday stream. A little bit about self improvement. Yeah, it's got to be done. There's no shortcuts. You just got to do it. Got to put in the work. You got to go to the gym. You got to exercise. When you least feel like doing it, you have to do it the most. You gotta do things that will feel uncomfortable, but in the end, it's gonna be worth it for sure. Yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there. As usual, like, comment, subscribe. I will be back tomorrow for another episode of Player Life. So have a good Monday, guys. I will catch you later. Peace out.